So hey guys, welcome back to another video of Instalist, and in this video I will be teaching you about the 5 mistakes committed by most of the beginners, and one of the beginner was me also. For example, there was a lot of pollution in my world, about 170% you might have seen in my old videos. So that's the thing. So there was so much pollution in my world, and that was one of the mistake I made, the model count stuff, and these mistakes are very dangerous for your long-term game. So that is why I will be letting you know of these 5 mistakes which were also made by me. So let's move on to the first mistake. So this is an important point in which we ignore the pollution and its effects. Basically, there is a lot of pollution in our world, and the reason of that is that basically we add a lot of pollution causing machines, like for example the coal drills. So basically in the beginning most of the people for money just spam these coal drills for the money, and that's why they make a lot of pollution, and that is why in the long run it becomes very hazy, and it gets very gloomy, it gets very bad, it gets very hard to build in that whole haze, and that is why pollution is a very dangerous thing and we should really avoid that. So basically the most important effect of pollution is that if there is a lot of pollution, basically you will earn less money. That's a simple thing. You can see that on the Wikipedia there's the percentages of money that is reduced when there's a lot of pollution in our world. So that's the thing we need to keep in mind. So in order to reduce pollution, we have to use scrubbers, and at the beginner stage you cannot use these scrubbers. So that is why you should add less pollution causing machines. So that's the thing. This is one of the mistake that I made in my game, in my whole playthrough from beginning. So you can see my previous videos that the mistake was really bad. You couldn't see anything in that whole pollution, and that is why you should really avoid it, as it basically affects your whole future gameplay. So this is one of the most important points. And yeah, let's move on to the fourth one, in which we just ignore the pipe wire management. Basically we can just see how many wires are there. So these are the pipelines. So basically we just use these pipelines for the long pipeline. So this adds a lot of models also, and it also looks very bad. Some people also just spam these junctions, these section spamming. It's a very common term. So most of the people do this, which makes the pipeline very messy. It makes it very messy because once we leave the game and join it after a long time and see these pipelines, and if we want to edit it, we cannot edit it. Like, it's very simple. Like for example, this is a pipeline here, this is a whole pipeline. So this is a pipeline here, and this is a pipeline right here. Now this pipeline and this pipeline joins, even though we just want this pipeline to go straight. We do not want these pipes to get intermingled, and that is what happens with section spamming, and that's the whole thing. So that's why this is called poor pipe management. Most of the beginners have these section spamming, which makes the game very hard actually, because it also takes a load on these models, which is another mistake. So basically for that we should use the long pipes, and if you want to see, you can use the rusty pipes, these ones. There are no long pipes for this one, so you have to just manage with this. But if you have these upgraded pipes, then you should use the long pipes. So that's the thing here. And also many people add a lot of nodes. Like there is a lot of for example, let's get NHMVT here. So there's a lot of power poles, and they just connect a lot of devices with that, and like 4 power poles with 4 other power sources are connected to one machine, which makes it very messy. For example, if you want to see how many power is being consumed by that machine, we have to use the power rate calculator. Like it's just right here, power rate calculator, this thing. But this should have only one wire, and that's the whole thing that happens. We just need one wire that is connected with that machine, but we have 4 poles connected with that machine along with 4 other power sources. So that is the whole thing here. So that is why we should use only one power source, and yeah, that's pretty much it. you can just see these poles. So you should always use the bigger poles instead of smaller poles, because these bigger poles obviously have more energy more energy transferring power. That's the whole thing. So basically this transfers 50 kmf. If you have this, if this is the largest one that you have, this gives 30 kmf, and if you have the smallest one, you should use the biggest one that you have right now. That's the whole thing. So this is the wire management which you should keep in mind in order to make your world much more cleaner and editable. So yeah, let's move on to the third mistake, in which we just focus on earning money. By earning money, we just add the money making machines, for example coal drills for the very beginners, or just add these copper drills for making the plates, the coils, etc, etc. So we do not focus on researching or adding research stations, which I also committed. For example, there's a lot of money making machines that I have, but I do not have a single research station, or I have very few of them. So we should focus on adding a lot of them, spamming a lot of them. Okay, this is not loaded, but still. So we should focus on adding a lot of research stations, so that it allows us to unlock more machines, as you can see. So this is the whole thing. You just need a lot of RP in order to unlock these stuff, and yeah, that's the requirement for us. So we need to add a lot of research stations in order to get a lot of research points, and in order to progress into the game further. Research points are very important for like enjoying the game, for progressing in the game, and money is not the only limiting factor for that. So yeah, this is the whole thing. Now let's move on to the second mistake, in which many of us spam sections, as we have discussed in the previous problems, in the previous mistakes. So we just spam sections like that, like this. We just spam sections wherever we want to do the pipelining, because it auto connects everything, even though at some places it gets like this. Like for example, if I am just building sections and I miss one, and now I add, as you can see, this occurs. This is a very big mistake, because you have to just keep searching for that, where did you do this. So that's the whole thing. And also this adds a lot of models. As you can see, this is a whole big pipeline, and if you see the number of models here, you can just drag the delete button like this. So there are 50 models here that you can see. So basically, if you just add the command /models, you can see how many models are there in your world. This is a sandbox world which I do not use, so there are 247 models out of 30,000. This is the model cap limit. After the limit, it gets laggy, low FPS is there. For example, if I turn off the models cap off, world may become unstable, if I expect corruption, low TPS, and bugs. So basically that's what happens when you have a lot of models in your world. For example, in my main world, there are almost 40 to 50,000 models, and this makes a lot of bugs. This adds a lot of bugs. This adds a lot of FPS changes, a lot of corruption. My world can also get corrupt, and that is why you should have less models in your world. And the most common reason by which that there is a lot of models in your world is by section spamming. Or like this, spamming these small short pipes. Like these had a whole lot of models, like 112 models just for this small pipeline. You can just use these long pipes. If you have these, you just need to unlock this. For that, you need to unlock these better item pipes, and you need to have the long pipes. These long pipes are very important for reducing the amount of models there are in your world, as you can see. So if I just count the number of models in these pipes, there are only 14 models, for which there are almost 56 models. So 14 and 56 is a whole very big difference, and that is why we should use these long pipelines. And that's the whole thing. We should keep in mind the model count, as in the end game you might not notice it right now, but in the end it gets very, 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 very problematic, because you cannot delete your machines, and yeah, it gets very problematic. And that is why you should have these long pipes if you have unlocked them, and you should unlock them as soon as possible. So yeah, let's now move on to the first mistake, which is most people ignore the Wikipedia, ignore the recipes tab, and only rely on tutorials. Well, this game contains a whole lot of stuff. Tetraethylates, for example tire, tire rim. You cannot find tutorials of this on YouTube, on any channel. Electric motor, for example. These are the stuff that you do not have tutorials for, and that's the whole thing. So you should use the recipes tab, you should use the Wikipedia, you should use the community resources provided by the whole Discord team, by the community stuff. You should join the Discord server of the community server of the Industrialist game, of Mamitema and stuff. So you should use the community resources, and you should use the Wikipedia in order to gain a lot of knowledge. For example, if you are in the end game and you are building the mineshaft drill, so you do not know at what depth we get what stuff. Like for example, if you go up, and basically you need to get 6,000 depth for coal and stuff, you can only get to know about it at the Wikipedia or at the Discord server, as there's not much information in the whole game itself. And that is why you should follow Wikipedia resources, you should follow the community resources, and also be in the community server of this game. And this is the whole mistake made by most of the people I know who are beginners or who are even mid-game players. And yeah, so basically join the Discord server, join the community, and basically see the Wikipedia. Just search Industrialist Wikipedia and you will get the fandom version or the Mira has version of that. So that's the whole mistakes that most of the people commit, and you should definitely avoid them. And yeah, that's the whole thing. Thanks guys for watching this whole video. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet, because almost 2.5% of the people have only subscribed and 97.5% have not subscribed to this channel yet. Man, make sure to subscribe it if you want to really support me. So yeah, that's the whole thing. Make sure to like the video if you liked it, and make sure to share it with your beginner friends who do not know about these mistakes yet and may or may not be committing these mistakes, so they should definitely avoid these. And yeah, that's the whole thing. Thanks guys again, peace out.